It's Alan Burnett with YourWeddingHub.com. Thank you for coming back. We are focusing on a series on destination wedding travel and the planning of what happens when you get on the ground. But ladies, I want to ask you first of all, and by the way, if you haven't been following this series, I've got Jenica here, Marcia, who are kind of the experts on the travel part of it. Got many, I'm not even going to tell you how many years of experience between the two, just a lot. They're experts, believe me. And then I've got Amanda back here who does all the planning for, you know, what's going to happen when you get there. But ladies, I want to ask you a question here today. What are some of the, now we're on the West Coast, so anyone on the West Coast of the continental U.S., what are some of the hot spots for destination weddings?
Probably Mexico. It still remains to be one of the main destinations. One of the reasons is the shorter flights, 6 hours or less, and also being very economical. In the last while, we're really doing a lot of weddings too in other places in the Caribbean. The areas in the Caribbean that tend to be more economical for groups, because you're dealing with not just the bride and groom, but the budgets of the whole wedding group. And so sometimes that can be a little bit difficult working into the budgets, but we normally find destinations like Cuba, destinations like Dominican Republic, in particular Punta Cana, tends to be equally priced, pretty much the same price tag as Mexico in most cases these days. Also, Jamaica is a really hot destination and has come down in price over the last few years. So looking at, if you're doing a wedding just for the two of you, again, like an elopement, that's one thing. You would have something more higher end maybe, but for groups, that's probably our most popular, I would say.
So, do you have any tips on how to determine a location, or is that just something when a couple contact you, they've kind of got a place in mind?
I'd say yes and no.
Some do. Some will come to us and know exactly what they want and exactly what resort they want, but most of the time they really are not sure. So depending on the season they're going, obviously the summer months, a hurricane season and so on, we steer away from certain destinations, or there's particular destinations in, let's say, Caribbean, like St. Lucia, who's sort of under the hurricane belt, and then we could say, or maybe Jamaica, that's okay in those months. So that's where we guide them. So they'll tell us what month they're planning to get married in, and we'll guide them along and say, well, look, if you go 2 weeks later and you move into the last week of May, let's say, the pricing is going to be a lot better than it's going to be if you, say, went in February. Those are the kinds of tips that we can give them.
Wow. You are, you ladies are giving us an amazing amount of information, and again, you know, we talked a little bit about why not just go to, you know, and I don't want to give the name of any websites that, you know, but there are tons of them out there on the internet where you can get cheap flights and sometimes accommodation, but you have no idea. I mean, one of my pet peeves is that you can put a beautiful, you know, if you've been doing much travel planning, you can put some great photos together and you get there and it's like, this doesn't look anything like the brochure that I saw. But dealing with experts, they can tell you everything from kind of guiding you time of year, so many helpful tips. Come on back, because we've got a lot more we want to talk about. I'm going to talk to Amanda in the next couple of blogs just on how do you kind of plan the whole thing once you get there. What are some of the different styles of wedding you can do? And so you want to come back and catch some of that, because it's going to get fun. You start seeing it all coming together as we get into that. So destinationweddingtravel.ca.
You got it.
Thank you. And YourWeddingHub.com. Thank you for checking us out. Don't forget, on Friday is the wedding story of the week. I'm going to see if these ladies have got any great stories that we can post on one of our Fridays. But keep on coming back. Follow us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter as well. Because oh, and by the way, if you have questions that you want to post, please do that, because we've got the experts that I know I can get them to put a little bit of time in answering those questions, and then it's out there for everyone. So thank you, and please come on back for the next part of Destination Wedding Planning. Thank you for checking us out on YourWeddingHub.com.